Hey everybody, welcome back to Canada's boxing channel. I meant to put something up yesterday, but I'm kind of under the weather. I injured myself climbing up and down hay bales like a 34-year-old without telling my 64-year-old knees in advance and obtaining their consent. And so that sort of, set me back, and I kind of just felt kind of rough yesterday all around, I suppose. Anyways, I'm back now. First things first, I guess my prediction on the Jai Opetaia fight was correct. Not that that was a particularly hard fight to predict. Jai did a great job stopping Nyika in round 4. I thought an argument could be made that the ref could have stopped it after the first knockdown, but anyways, the second knockdown was certainly most conclusive. Full marks to Nyika. He came to fight, and in fact, I think he might have buzzed Opetaia in the first round. But Opetaia is a cagey character, eh? He doesn't give anything away. And so there was no sort of, indication that, he was buzzed. And I don't think that there was any chance that Opetaia was in danger. Please, don't misunderstand me. Not much really more to say. I mean, there are levels to this game, and Jai Opetaia was simply at a higher level. He's one of the top 2 cruiserweights in the world. And there's talk that he might go to heavyweight, which is interesting. In fact, Eddie Hearn was saying something about maybe him fighting Usyk, which, it's a conversation for another day. Not that I wouldn't want to see it, but I don't know. I'm a little bit tired of fantasy fights, being talked about. So on with what could be hopefully will be my second successful prediction. Let's just have a chat about the Bang Zhang and Ajit Kabayel fight, which is scheduled for February the 22nd, same as the Dubois and Parker card. And I'll talk about Dubois and Parker probably tomorrow, or the next day, something like that. But for today, let's talk about Ajit Kabayel and Bang Zhang. Let's start with the Big Bang Zhang. Born in China, fights out of the USA, big star in China apparently, and quite a character on social media. I kind of like the guy. Obviously his English is somewhat limited. Mandarin Chinese is his first language, but you can tell even through a translator that the guy's got a sense of humor, and he's kind of like got a personality under there. Now Gilles is 41. He's I think it's fair to say he's a bit of a late developer is probably the wrong way to put it. In the eyes of many casual fans, he sort of arrived on the scene a little bit sort of recently, if you like, even though he's been around for a long time. Long amateur record. Fought AJ in the amateurs, of course, losing out to AJ. His amateur record wasn't great. I think he had... I wrote it down here. It's almost like a 50-50 loss ratio, actually, as an amateur. Let me just consult my notes. Yeah, his amateur record was 36-17, so he lost 47% of his fights as an amateur. But as a pro, and the pro and amateur games, as I always say, they're different games. You can learn a lot, but you can't necessarily take it to the bank based on reviewing a person's amateur career. As a pro, 27-2-1. He's got an 80-inch reach, and he's 6'6", and he's a big unit. He's 280 something. I don't know, of course, what he'll weigh for this fight, but he's a big lad. Turned pro in 2014. I think he really came to people's attention when he had 2 back-to-back and really quite excellent wins over Joe Joyce. And now remember, Joe Joyce, we're not talking the Joe Joyce that's, lost to Chisora recently or struggled with Cash Alley. We're talking about Joe Joyce, the juggernaut, whose technique of stopping punches with his face was exposed by Zhang as being possibly a flawed technique. I think Zhang beat him in the 6th round on their first fight and on the 3rd round in their second fight. Ill-advised, probably by Zhang, by Joyce to take that rematch. But hey, you know, hindsight's 2020, right? And Joe Joyce is brave as they come. So Zhang's big skill, like big attribute, if you like, I mean skill, that's a stupid word. Big attribute has got to be his power. He's got knockout power in both hands, and of course he's a southpaw, which makes him, awkward to orthodox fighters. He's got a big weakness though, and it's his gas tank. Like I don't know, right? I mean, like we see fighters running out of gas, and I think that's something we see more of now than we used to see decades ago. And it might be because guys are just packing on that extra beef to give them more punch resistance or more power or whatever, but they seem to be running out of gas. And Zhang is a guy who runs out of gas. He's the wrong side of 35, and he's carrying a lot of meat. So he's a first half fighter. Let's see, his two most recent fights, he destroyed Deontay Wilder, but Deontay Wilder was a shadow of his former self, I think that's fair to say. And he lost to Joseph Parker, which was, I think it was fair, but you could make a case for it being another way. He did put Parker down. And there's a rematch between those two guys sort of out there somewhere to be figured out one day or not. So Zhilei Zhang, I think, is going to enter the fight as an outsider. I haven't checked the odds today. Still, with a ways to go, the odds will always narrow. But Ajak Kabayel is, the last time I had a quick glance, a little bit of the bookie's favorite. So let's have a boo at Ajak Kabayel's record. He's 32, born in Germany, boxes out of Germany. 25-0-0 record, 6'3", which is good size for heavyweights. I know everybody's in love with, 6'5", 6'6", or bigger, but 6'3" is a good heavyweight size. Usyk is 6'3", as was Muhammad Ali. There you go. Wins over Chisora. A very impressive win over the Canadian-Russian Makhmudov, who, that really fearsome-looking guy. Scares me just looking at him on the telly, but, looks don't win fights. And a very good win over Frank Sanchez, with a little one of those asterisks by it, because I think Frank Sanchez was nursing an injury. His knee was strapped up, and he was moving poorly. But, it is what it is. Kabayel certainly got in there and sorted him out. Closed the show. Both Zhang and Kabayel have fought Rudenko. Both went the distance. There's not too much to draw from that. And I think that's my notes of their record. I like the work that Kabayel does. He does a lot of good body work. And so my prediction is this. He's going to need to have his guard up and in place and his head on a swivel for the first few rounds against Zhang, who is definitely capable of putting anybody to sleep. But after about round 5 or 6, Zhang is going to slow down dramatically. The earlier body work that Kabayel will have done will mean that Zhang's gas tank is going to be really, really low by about round 8 or 9. And I am going to predict, therefore, a Kabayel stoppage. Late stoppage, round 9. That's what my magic ball is saying. Most people, I think, have Kabayel to win on points at the end of the distance. But I think Kabayel's going to stop Zhang. So that's where I'm putting my money. Anyways, we'll see how it is. Okay, well, if you've liked this short video, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And wherever you are in the world, have a great day. Cheers.